To the very talented Dollbaby, and thanks for coming on the show.
Well, thank you for that.
You're most welcome. All right, let's jump straight into it.
Okay.
Firstly, take us back. Tell us about your life growing up, your family, and everything relating to that.
Okay. Well, I kind of grew up around the film business because of my dad. And so I've always been fascinated with the entertainment industry. And, I grew up dancing. I grew up, watching movies with my dad and going to shows and musicals. And um, so I was always interested in the arts and storytelling. And but my dad sheltered me from it, obviously, because he's seen how it's affected some people who, especially at a young age. So, even though I was writing songs like as soon as I could talk, he would just always told me, get an education, get an education. That's the most important thing. So always wrote music. And then I remember I didn't start taking it seriously until I actually got the opportunity to meet James Newton Howard, who is a film composer. And he asked me a question of, you know, what's your favorite song in King Kong? And because he composed that film. And I remember I was like, when the monkey dies. And he asked me why. And I was like, because it makes me cry. The music made me cry. And so that was kind of what triggered everything. I was like, I knew I wanted to make music that moved me because my songs were kind of a way for me to like get my emotions out on paper. And yeah, it's like my songwriting at first was just it became a form of my diary. And so that's what my dad always says, like, oh, you're just like Taylor Swift, but it's, you know, it just kind of came natural to me to get my emotions out through song and help me process it. It was almost like a healing process for me. And then when I was in college, I actually did photography for a recording artist. And I became friends with his producer, Adam Berg. And he was like, oh, what do you study photography in school? And I was like, no, I actually study music. And he was like, wait, what? So I showed him one of my songs, and then, the rest is history. He was like, "Oh, we got to record some stuff." And I said, "I have to graduate college first. That I promised my dad, and then as soon as I do, I'll be in the studio." So, yeah, that's kind of how it all started.
Wonderful. And what does family mean to you, personally and professionally?
Oh, it means everything. We kind of all work together. I work with my brother. He's really good at marketing and branding because he's worked for companies and that's what he did. He also works in the film business. I do work for my dad in the film business. So family is really important to me because we all work together. We all have the same kind of creative gene. And, my mom's like the backbone, the emotional backbone of our family. So just, it's everything to me. I love my family more than anything.
Incredible. All right, let's talk music. What was happening in your life emotionally when you wrote Alone?
Well, I was alone at the time. I I wrote that song when I was in a really dark cycle. I think a lot of women can relate to having bad taste in men. And so that was kind of a moment where I looked myself in the mirror and was like, why do I keep repeating the same mistakes? And it's because I didn't want to be alone. So I was settling for any love that came my way just because I didn't want to be alone. And I think that so many people can relate to that. But, writing that song kind of helped me realize I have more value than this and I don't want to settle.
Yeah, wonderful. And definitely agree with you. Some people just settle and then, yeah, it really hurts them in the long run. So I completely understand where you're going with that.
Yeah.
Tell me about See You Later. That's incredible too.
See You Later was a lot more emotional because I wrote that at the time that my godfather passed away. And so it was kind of a way to deal with grief. And, I was the one thing I kept hearing in my head was hope, hope, hope. So that's when it's not goodbye, I'll see you later. I do believe that there's an afterlife and we're all going to be reunited again one day. So that was something that I kind of dedicated to my godmother, who, Coco, she was a big part of my upbringing. And so I just wanted to write that song for him, dedicated to him, but also for her to cling on to hope that she was going to see the love of her life again one day.
Amazing. And tell me about Leather Thrones.
Leather Thrones was more fun. That was actually so I wrangle with horses. I work in the entertainment industry. So anytime there's horses on set, there's always people that help that come to life. It's not like they just snap their fingers and horses appear. So I was wrangling on a job and I'm working with, you know, a bunch of cowboys. Like it's a little girl that's 5'5" and then a bunch of like 6'5" cowboys with beards and bellies. And there is this old timey cowboy that his name's Monty Joe Petska. He's actually an NFR champion and he kind of became like a father like figure for me. And we had just wrapped the job and I was like, where is everybody? They didn't say goodbye. And he was like, oh, yeah, they left. And he looks at me and goes, Charlie, cowboys ain't so good at goodbyes. And I was like, that would be a really good song. So I took out my phone right there and then I wrote it down and I was like, I'm going to come back to that. And that song was actually just me paying homage to the cowboy life, and how there's a wheat and a tear to it. It's a blessing and a curse. There are these men that are so dedicated to their craft, their horses, their life. They'd rather be in the saddle than anything else. And because of that, like, you're always going to come second. So that was where that all came from.
Yeah, significant. Do you feel modern pop has lost emotional risk?
Emotional risk, you said?
Yeah, yeah. Do you feel modern pop has lost emotional risk?
Uh, no, no, I don't think it has. I think that you know, I think pop music is always going to come from a place of emotion, whether that makes you feel happy or sad. And I even think of I think Sabrina Carpenter. She's a great songwriter. And if you're just looking at the surface, you're thinking, oh, these are fun songs. But I know that there's a lot of emotion that inspired those. So no, I don't know if I agree with that.
Sure. And did you always have confidence in your voice?
No, no. In fact, I probably still don't. I think I'm have confidence in the words that I'm saying. That's why I always say I'm a songwriter. I love to sing and it's a way to make those words come to life, but no, I think I still kind of struggle with stage fright as we all do, but for me it's because I believe in the words that I'm saying and that's probably why it looks like I'm confident.
Sure. And is there a specific way you manage your nerves?
Say a prayer.
Gotcha, gotcha.
Yeah.
And what artist did you growing up really, really admire? And who do you currently admire?
Well, there's a lot of range. Growing up, I listened to Celine Dion, Bob Marley, Amy Winehouse, Johnny Cash, and I think even though the genres were all over the place, they all had the same thing in common, where they were just unapologetically themselves and they were vulnerable. And that's really what I look for in an artist is who's going to bear their heart and soul. and their music. And so, yeah, that was what I grew up on. And then now, same thing. Like I listen to all genres. I love Morgan Wallen and Charlie Crockett. I love I love Sabrina Carpenter. I think she's adorable. And her brand is so well done. But then her music, like she can write a good song. And then I love what Gracie Abrams is doing. I think that she has a unique sound and her voice is breathy and angelic. And so, yeah, it's like for me, whenever someone asks me, oh, what's your favorite genre or your favorite band or this, I'm like, I love everyone and everything. If it's good, I listen to it and I'm inspired.
Incredible. Um, what is the biggest difference between your old identity and your new one?
I would say I am a lot more healed as a person. The songs that I put out under Charlie Marie Lyons, I didn't know who I was at all. I just wrote from a place of pain with no sense of direction. Whereas now I think I've matured and I've grown up a lot and I've healed a lot. And so I'm able to write from a place of pain that inspires me, but I'm like, okay, where are we going? How are we going to get to the finish line from here?
Tremendous. That's really great insights. Thanks for sharing. What is the visual world of Dollbaby?
The visual world. Um, It's modern, it's vintage, it's Western, I was raised in a city, but I also love riding horses and being out in the country. So it's just a juxtaposition of everything beautiful in life, nature, and yeah, that's what I would say is the visual of Doll Baby.
Tremendous. What's the best compliment you've ever received?
Best compliment I've ever
Yeah.
received.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm probably not that good at receiving compliments, so I just let them roll over my head. I don't know. That's a good question. I'll have to think about that.
Sure. And what would you like your legacy to be?
My legacy. Um, I want to put out art where people feel seen and like they're not alone. Um, Something that inspires people to have hope and that, bad things happen all the time, but life keeps going and you're not alone for feeling the way that you do.
Sure. And what is one thing you love most about music?
I love music that makes you feel. Um, yeah, it's funny. One of my favorite soundtracks to listen to is The Nutcracker by Tchaikovsky, and it will bring me to tears. And I listen to it when it's Christmas time. I'm not listening to Christmas music. I'm listening to The Nutcracker. So yeah, my favorite thing about music is it can make you feel any emotion and every emotion.
Cool. And what is there one specific emotion that you're really drawn to
Um,
or
I
exploring one
love
emotion? Yeah.
I love when a song can make me cry. Not in like a I'm sad way, but that it just moves me to my soul. So it's not necessarily sadness and like a, oh my gosh, doom and gloom, but it's a cathartic cry.
Sure. And what's the best piece of advice you've received?
Let failure be your teacher.
Cool. And what would be the best piece of advice you would give someone similar in your situation?
If you're pursuing music, don't give up. And also, don't be afraid to embarrass yourself sometimes. Everybody started somewhere, and endurance is probably the greatest skill that you could have in the entertainment industry.
Definitely. Even legends started as amateurs, as I say, so it's so true.
Exactly.
Um, who is your dream collaboration? If you could collaborate with anybody, who would it be?
I could collaborate with anybody. Probably Morgan Wallen. I think it's interesting how he just did a collaboration with Tate McRae, and it's they're on opposite genres. She's pop and he's country pop, but just yeah, Morgan Wallen probably.
Oh, that's fascinating. What's something people would be surprised to learn about you?
Um, Probably that I'm trying to be the best cowgirl I can be on the side, and I'm always trying to learn new skills with my horse, and one of those happens to be learning how to rope, um, which I don't think people would expect that when they see me.
Yeah, sure. What is your biggest creative fear?
Creative fear?
Yeah,
Um, I don't know if it's necessarily a fear as much of an insecurity. Just that, you know, I might my someone might read too much into my songs and my lyrics and assume that they know more about me than they do.
sure. What kind of atmosphere do you need around to create your best work?
Well, when I'm writing a song, it's usually like I get woken up in the middle of the night and I go to the keyboard. So I guess peace and quiet.
Great. And what keeps you motivated during difficult periods? And also, further to that, what inspires you daily?
The art is what keeps me motivated because even if don't I feel discouraged by the industry, I'm still writing songs. It just happens. And what was the second part of that question?
What inspires you or what motivates you daily?
Um, I think just emotion motivates me probably. My own feelings motivate me. And then, yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know if I have the right answer for that.
Well, that's a great answer and great insights that you said. So yeah. At the end of the day, what would you like Dollbaby to stand for?
I want Dollbaby to stand for authenticity, uh, vulnerability, and hope.
Terrific. If you could go back in time and there could be one thing you can change, it can be personally or professionally, what would you change?
I don't know if I'd change anything. I feel I've learned from every mistake I've ever made. So I don't think I'd be where I am today if I had changed anything. But I have made a lot of mistakes in my life. So, but I don't,
We
no
we all
regrets.
have made mistakes. We all make mistakes. It's part and parcel of life.
Yeah.
Um, Thank you so much for coming on the show. I do appreciate it. It's incredible your music. Your trajectory is significant, and yeah, I really can't wait to see you grow from strength to strength consistently.
Thank you so much. Thank you for taking the time to talk to me.
You're most welcome.